This is a property, so we ended up in Manly, so I brought a Manly property. It's a property in Manly. So when we got appointed to it, we created this information memorandum. If someone got the information memorandum, in the case of Wilston, there were 101 people. When they wanted the technical stuff, it's a set called disclosure documents. It's the vendor's disclosure of information. Rates notices, it used to be like appendices at the back. Title searches, rates notices, leases, land tax, insurance, all the technical stuff. If the two things are together and I give this to 101 people, how do I work out who the keenest parties are? Hard to tell, right? Everyone's got everything. But if I separate this and have a two-stage process, and 101 people have got that and 24 have got that, who are the keenest parties?
People that got that.
And then if I've got a draft contract of sale, now, really easy to rank most interested parties because it's a sequential process. In day one, if someone rings up and says, I'm a big swinging dick, I'd like all the information, please. What do? We just send them this and lead them to that because they've got to volunteer to get that so that we know, they're keen.
Do you qualify them or do they qualify themselves by asking for it?
They're actions. You don't need to say to someone, are you interested?
Yeah.
You only need to say, I see you have the information memorandum. We've got a thorough disclosure document package. Would you like a copy? Now, they say no. Are they really going to buy this property? They say yes. They've just stepped up. So I never have to say, are you interested? I mean, how boring a question. Just gauge their actions. So.
You don't put all your rates and all that sort of stuff into your IM?
You can, but you miss the chance to filter 101 to 24. Right? Do you want to call 101 people or do you want to ring 24? Now you can ring the 24 and say, I've got a draft contract, would you like it? And 12 of them say yes. Now I know the 12 keenest parties. And they're the ones I talk to first. Then I'd ring these guys and say, I see you got the disclosure documents, would you like the draft contract? They say, no, fine. What didn't you like about the property? What are you looking for? You know, so now you're on to, but firstly you get feedback on this property. Well, what didn't you like about it? Oh, too big, too small. Write it all down, feedback for the vendor. Well, what are you looking for? Ideally, what are you seeking? Oh, well, I'm looking to buy, well, come and look at this medical centre around the corner, 5% return. And then these guys, so of the 101, there's 24. So how many people have got this that don't have that? It's a mathematical question for the accountants.
77, is that right?
I don't know. But you can ring those 77 and say, I've got disclosure documents, I've seen you've had a look at the property, would you like that information? So you can still talk to everyone, but now they're prioritised. Beautiful. That's way better than everyone having everything and me having 101 people and not being able to work out who to talk to first. So this is how we summarise what we offer. So what we offer to a vendor is not more properties for sale. What is it that we offer to vendors? Access to buyers. That's all we offer, access to a buyer. You know, a vendor, I'm selling $5 million property, I've got 10 $5 million properties for sale. The vendor's going to go, all that competition for mine. I want to know you've got access to buyers. So what do we summarise? The buyers. 7,000 emails, 1,100 page visits, 195 people got that, 35 got that, 11 contracts issued. These are the offers. In descending price order at the end of the expression of interest campaign, not an auction on this one, these were the offers, days to unconditional, days to settlement. Does that make it really easy for this owner of this property to sell that property? Yes. We send out an e-brochure with lots of links on it. The beauty about the internet, hyperlinks. What do hyperlinks do? You can trace them. So then we get a report. We call it a HTML report. Your office might call it whatever they call it. And we know how many clicks on which documents. And they're in descending order. Who do I call first? The guy that clicked on the most. Why? Because he's probably the most interested. Now I've got a call list. So get an e-brochure. Now, the e-brochures, some go, I'm not linking an IM and I'm not linking anything on it. Does he get a call list? No. Everyone's got everything. So how do we know who to call? So on all your brochures, put links. Talk to your IT. You guys might go, our web system doesn't do, HTML reports. No, sorry, I'm not going to accept mediocrity. I want best practice. go talk to your IT, your principal and say, we need a HTML report. Let's find a way to get one of these things. How can we do that? Now, if you've got that, are you better than the agent without it? You have to be, because you've got someone to talk to and you've got a reason. Now, you ring this person. Big brother here, I saw at 11:22 you were surfing the internet on that website. You shouldn't have been there. Is that trust? Is that trust inducing? No. You ring them and say, hey, I've got this great property at Manly. I thought you would love it. Would you like some information? What do they say? Yeah, I was meaning to call you. Thanks for ringing me. Gee, you're so smart to realise I'd be interested. I'm not smart, I just got a HTML report, right? So they assume you've thought of them and rung them. They haven't realised this is IT at work. This is the internet. This is what's transformed our industry and should. As good an agent as I think I might be, I'm a better agent when I'm making more phone calls. So you might have people, you know, oh, I don't do this or I don't do that, or oh, I've got to repeat and great. But if you make more phone calls, are you going to be better? Are you going to add more value? Are you going to expose you and your clients to more opportunities for you to do more business? Yes. So is it better to be the guy making the most phone calls in the office or not? I guarantee if you find out who makes the most phone calls in your office, inevitably they will be invoicing the most fees. If not now, they will be in the future. Eventually they're going to run past everyone else, because eventually they'll be calling those other people's clients before the client gets around to calling them. Bang, game over. Make lots of phone calls if you want to be really good at it. The other thing, if you make lots of phone calls, eventually you work out who to call and what to say. So it's back to your question earlier. Add value, have a reason to call. Have you got a reason to call all these names on this list? Yeah, got this great property at Manly, I thought it would interest you. Oh, thank God you've called, Tim. Thanks for thinking on me. We often get people saying, thank you for sending, sorry I haven't bought properties off you yet. Thank you for sending all those emails to me. Is that adding goodwill? Yep, they're apologising for not buying. So there's some people in the office going, oh, spam, you know, you'll annoy them. People that do this for a living, they want information, they want opportunities, it's how they make money. Help them. So that's what we do with that. At the end of the campaign, if you put a cover on it, if you collate a compilation, you know, like summer hits of them all and all the marketing collateral, you're going from a showing business to a telling business to a showing business. That's what all the reporting for that looked like. So we're taking a service and making it look and feel like a product. So next time we go to pitch to someone that owns a property like this one, and we take all this collateral and we say, hi, I've just helped someone else sell a property just like yours for a record price. I sat down with them 6 weeks ago. Would you like me to show you what I just did for them? What are they going to say? Yes, show me how you set that record price. You lay that out, you show them this and you show them that. Are they going to appoint you? Well, you would think so. Can you add any more value at that moment? If they say, oh, look, I have to think about it, or why don't you write me and put a proposal together? Really? Well, what could I possibly propose? I've just sold something just like yours for a record price. What more do you need to think about? So part of the reason of creating all this collateral is to service and sell this property. But a secondary opportunity, if you've done it well, is you've now got all this collateral to present to the next potential vendor. And if you do that consistently over a long period of time, you've got a great library of content, you've got great goodwill and reputation, other things should come to you. And then if you're making lots and lots of phone calls, presenting lots of opportunities to buyers and vendors in your market consistently, so send out these frequently each week and start ringing these each week, that's a business. That's what we do. Well, for me, that's a whole lot better than chasing the medical centre buyer for $5 million. I learnt this from a client. So she'd come up from Adelaide. We were trying to sell a property for her at Palimba. Scannable is like photos, and you just hover over the document. But it cleans it all up for you. It makes it A4, it takes all the shadows out, lines them up, and then you hit email. Yeah, so you can sit and scan 20-page contract and send it straight to the lawyer.
There's another one called Cam Scanner that works
pretty well too.
So Cam Scanner, I'm using Scannable. I don't mind what you use, but it's not photos, it's enhanced photos for documents. So if a client says to me, can you sell my property without a marketing budget? No problem at all. Yeah, we can sell it without, but we can't make you look like this, and we can't necessarily get 195 interested parties. What's more important to you? Not spending money on marketing or getting a result like this? So you give them a conundrum, you give them a decision. Is saving $18,000 in your mind worth risking a couple of million on the sale price? Up to you, buddy. All right, well, you won't spend any on marketing, so what price? Have you decided to sell the property for the highest possible price, or is it more important to you to get a price you already have in mind? I got a price I already got in mind. What is that price? If that price is aligned with market, no problem. Exclusive agency, no marketing budget, price aligned with market, I'm off. I'll still ask for the draft contract, put the price on the contract. I'll still prepare some of, well, give me your rates and land tax. We'll still prepare a disclosure document package, and we'll sell it with a price, and we'll use the price aligned with market to pre-qualify the buyers. Now, what if the price is 50% above market? I can't help you. No one can help you. I would love to help you. I don't think anyone can. Oh, what can you sell it for? Well, this is what we sold this one for, and this is how we did it. This is what we're recommending you do. What's preventing you from doing this? Oh, well, I don't want to pay GST. Oh, I don't want to pay for a marketing. Well, then I can't present you this well, but let's get a price more aligned with this outcome, and we're happy to consider it. So yes, you can still sell properties without marketing budgets, but is a vendor paying a marketing budget more committed to a transaction than one that hasn't? And what are we looking for? Committed vendors, right? So give them things to do, give them homework to do, give their lawyers work to do, build goodwill with the lawyer. Gee, you wouldn't believe this agent got me drafting the contract. The best use of my time is getting contracts signed. So Form 6, so I'm a contract courier. People are, oh, what do you do? I'm a contract courier. I go and get Form 6s signed, I get contracts signed. That's the best use of my time, and the steps to allow that to occur. So the more of my time that's doing that, the better. So if you're looking at your marketing, spend less time focused on selling properties and more on services, and then you'll have more properties to sell. So the negotiation is more around being invited to pitch, what commission, will you appoint me? That's way more important than haggling with one of 20 buyers at the end when they're all unconditional contracts anyway. So yeah, you're creating processes that create great outcomes. But when you're off market, it's harder because it's one at a time and there's offer, counter offer, sure. But it depends on your particular market. And as a property owner, you're in a weakened bargaining position. Because typically off market, the transaction is on the price and terms and timing of the buyer. Is that in the vendor's best interest? It may not be. How do they know if there's not more money out there until they find out? Well, when you've sent out 10,000 emails and you've spoken to a couple of hundred people and 100 people have got the information memorandum, have you fully tested market interest? Can that vendor sleep well at night knowing they've seen the best offers? You would think so. Whereas you turn up and go, here's an offer, take it. Well, does that give them peace of mind? What's more satisfying? Who's going to wake up at 3 a.m? You know, the vendor that, wife, why did you take that offer? We could have got more. Instead, I've run a campaign, the wife goes, why'd you take it? Well, Robert spent $18,000 of our money and got 20 offers. How many more do you think you're going to get? Shut up and go to sleep. Don't say that last bit, that won't go over well. But yeah, we still negotiate. But the negotiations that matter most, in my mind, is on the services and getting appointed on the Form 6. It's not on the contract. That's a process. Once you're appointed, it's a process. Run a process that puts the client in the strongest possible bargaining position, gives them the most peace of mind. So what are we offering? Has everyone worked out what we've offered yet? To a vendor, what do we offer? Please say it. Access to buyers, right? If that message doesn't get through, I've failed you. What else do we offer the vendor after access to buyers? And it's what we're talking about right now. Peace of mind. Peace of mind. You'll know market interest is fully tested, and you've got the best offer at the upper limit of market terms right now, and if the wife wakes up at 3 a.m. and elbows you, it won't be about price. It'll be say, darling, I'm so glad you appointed that guy. He was so good. Then she can show how much she truly appreciates what you have to offer. Let's hope so. So we tend to break our year up into 4 10-week blocks. Just happens to be school holidays, right? So Australia Day to Easter, 10 weeks, intense, a couple of weeks, because during the school holidays, pick a wealthy person in June, July, and normally, where are they? They're overseas, you know. You know, they're skiing in Whistler or somewhere. You know, so school holidays are downtime for us, and then more intense, but same, we won't close a campaign during a school holiday period. We'll straddle it over, but we won't during the middle of it. And then, so 10 weeks on. So we're trying to write a year's worth of revenue in 40 weeks.
So does that mean you're blocking out like the majority of December and January as well?
Our commercial industry does, because where's the lawyer and the banker and the valuer and everyone else you need? They're just not around. So often in a typical year from Melbourne Cup on, it's a different level of intensity. Sure, transactions still happen, but if they haven't really started by then, you're not going to get them to contract by Christmas. That's what matters most. So demanding people come to your office because it's more efficient with your transport time, but it diminishes with that client the likelihood of you getting the job, that would be pretty silly. Yeah, so it depends on that particular party. But you know, there's plenty of times where we just send a Form 6. My favourite, uncontested appointments. That's the thing, right? Who wants to be competing with it? It's uncontested appointments. So contract courier, what do we want to do? We want signed Form 6s landing in our inbox and signed contracts landing in our inbox. Well, create a business that exposes you to the best chance of that occurring frequently as possible. That's what we're trying to do. So the thing I always want to say is I want to be relatable, and I want to have sold the adjoining property exactly the same for a record price in the last 6 weeks. Yeah. That's best practice for me, right? Yeah. So that's what I want. I want to be able to describe, so I need to understand what you've got. So getting the address early, getting on RP data, I've got, you know, that on my phone, and knowing, you know, how big it is, last transaction, some sense of value live in the conversation. If I get the chance, I'll send email of the record I've just sold while we're talking, and you get it up on, you know, all that. So you're trying to get as far as possible into the conversation. What you're trying to do actually is give them peace of mind early. It's comfort food. You want them going, I don't have to ring another agent. I've found him. That's what you want. You want to give them the chance of that relief of, finally I've found you. And I don't want them ringing other agents. I want them going, I've got my guy. So whatever they need to hear in that environment, and meeting as quickly as possible. I love doing that. I'm happy to down tools and come and see you now. Would you like me to do that? That's because what does that show? Yeah, keen. They want. How's this guy? He'll cancel everything. Come and meet me now. I love saying that. I love going and onto that. So if we've spoken and you're not able to meet me now, and we've scheduled a meeting for tomorrow at 11, I'll get on site in the afternoon and I'll ring you saying, hey, I'm just on site here. I just wanted to know about this or that. What are you thinking now? He wanted to meet me straight away. Couldn't meet him till 11 o'clock. He's on site. And there's that urgency and engagement. You know, I'm at your property now. And he goes, well, is the lawn mown? Is that tenant, you know, whatever? I like that because there's engagement and urgency, but you're also showing you've gotten on site. So is that best practice? Yes, I would think so. I don't sell property. I present opportunities to buyers to make money. Oh, you don't want to make money from buying this property at record price today? Okay. Well, what do you want to make money on today? What can I help you with? So it's less, I'm not taking it personally, the rejection. Because let's face it, there's lots of rejection, but they're not rejecting me, they're rejecting that opportunity. Same with a pitch. I'm giving that vendor the opportunity to get access to buyers with me and peace of mind and knowing they've made the right decision. They don't want to take it, that's fine. Someone else offered them more or less or both, they take the something else. What can you do? You just join an office. There must be someone in that office that's recently run a campaign you can get a HTML report on, or a inspection follow-up. Can we talk about some questions you could ask when you've done an inspection? So let's imagine we're in a situation We've just walked through a commercial property with a potential tenant. What would be a good question to ask at that moment?
When do you want to move in?
Great call. That's called an assumed close. When do you want to move in? But a key question, right? What's a more of a foreplay question before that one?
What kind of business do you?
Yeah. Could you already know that though? Yeah. So if we met and you're already on LinkedIn, would I ask what school you went to or how long you've been with your current employer or all the content that would already be on LinkedIn? No, because I would look like I was less well prepared. So that is a question, but you'd be better off asking other questions and already knowing that information. Often I'm with someone and I'm looking on my phone, like I'm checking them out on LinkedIn or looking on RP data while we're at the conversation.
If you just get someone ring up and say, hi, my name's Bob.
Great.
Can I have a look at this property?
Yes. Yes. The answer's probably yes, right? Just because you're obliged to. That's just kind of an expectation.
Oh, yeah, you
Yeah.
say yes. But
Yes.
then how can you research that in that time? Like,
Yeah.
50 years,
Yeah.
what business do you have? Like that sort of stuff.
So we'll do the little role play, you know, so you're the Bob and I'm... so if I need to call you, what's your mobile number? I should have that because it's on caller identification. So I've got your mobile number here, just want to catch your name, whatever it is, and the business name. If I've got the business name, now I can search.
Yeah.
So I can Google in between then and...
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to tell you my business name. Really? Why? What are you the CIA? I mean, come on. Yeah,
So
so
I do find a lot of people are quite cagey at times with
it's about trust.
who they are.
It's about trust. Fine. You don't trust me? Knock yourself out. Fine. We can just inspect it with a mobile number on caller ID. Fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't catch your name, I'm sorry. And what business?
Yeah. So
All
you
right.
try and get that information prior to it.
I'll down tools. I'll see you there in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Immediately, it's a bit unfair. I'm standing out the front. Can you be here? Oh, really? You know. Yes, I can be there in 15. Even if you can be there immediately, I'd say, yeah, I can be there in 15 minutes. Why? I'm not going to get pushed around. Do I want people ringing me demanding I come now? Well, not really. So I don't reward that behaviour by responding. Yeah. So I'd say I'll see you in 15, or I can see you there tomorrow. Anyway, so you get their address, so you know where they are. So you already know. So then I would look at my company's database or on RP data or other sources, those sources we put up earlier, find out information on them. You'd have a sense of quality,
Yeah.
right? You don't necessarily know the size. So what's a key question when you're inspecting then?
What do they need? What do they require?
Yeah, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? And what they answer, right? Gee, this is awful, isn't it? Can't see anything. We got you close, but we didn't. Yeah, what are you looking for? So it comes back to the earlier on the brief. 3 things that matter: size, quality, location, and what they're... So is there a particular budget you want to keep it underneath? That's the nice way to ask it. And if they have described the Taj Mahal and they've got a beer budget, so, you know, really? You're going to have to get smaller, further out, lesser quality. You're not going to get what you're asking for.
Yeah.
Social media is the next onion ring out. So, you know, there's people I know, there's people our business knows, there's people that are known to us. Social media is kind of capturing the next onion ring. And so we're using vendor paid money to promote that property, but it's getting email addresses and mobile numbers of a whole bunch of people that we didn't have before. And they're getting tipped into a buyer database. And that's pretty smart use of money. We're doing more direct mail because others aren't. We weren't doing any a few years back, you know, when brochures, when letterboxes were stuffed with things. But what we're actually doing isn't, it's more addressed direct mail. So we're just thinking, well, everyone's leaning one way, we're going to go dip out. So we're going to allocate monies, vendor paid monies to promote properties, but we're going to see whether that, and I think it will be worth exploring for an extended period. How do you get to sell as a commercial agent the best house in Brisbane? Why isn't the best residential agent in Brisbane selling that? So we pitched against the best residential agents in Brisbane, and when they missed out on the appointment, they quite nicely rang and texted and said, congratulations, really good listing, which I thought that was pretty big of them, because we didn't know who we pitched against. right? So they've outed themselves just to say congratulations. So I thought that was...
Do you ask that question on the call out?
Does it matter though?
No.
Yeah.
Well, see, in my market, it's good to know who I'm going up against.
Sort of, but that's the whole elbows and knees cage fighting of residential,
yeah.
which, you know, you don't... To perform at your best, do you need a nemesis? I mean, really? Do you need, you know...
Fair enough.
Does Superman need, you know, whoever the Joker... Maybe, you know, maybe he's better because of it. Maybe that inspires you. But no, you know, our job is to do the best job we can. I think as a profession in our office, we're really good at shutting gates, which means we miss something, we find out why we missed it, and we shut that gate so it won't happen again. And what it ends up with is an accumulation of marginal gains. If you're consistently getting better and better each day, right, so evolutionary change, you don't need to be revolutionary. So you don't need huge, dramatic, heroic, you know, improvements. If consistently over a long period of time, you're getting better and better and better. Because at some point, your competitors can't follow you because they can't take that heroic big leap because they haven't earned the marginal gains. Not talking about, you know, the property and method of sale, but talking about the process and what's called probity. And probity is about all stakeholders being treated fairly and reasonably and equally having opportunity. Because for the public trustee, that's crucial to them. For a lot of the government work we do, that's crucial to them. It's why we produce documents like this, because that demonstrates that everyone's had an equal opportunity and we haven't just flogged it to some mate round the corner. With an auction, they turn up with a contract, bid their lowest price and get run up by the competition. With a tender, they turn up with the same contract, have to offer their best and final price, and the vendor gets to privately assess the offers. That's the key difference. And we wanted to give the public trustee... Your best marketing shouldn't be around promoting properties for sale. It should be around promoting your services to future potential clients. Confidence really, it's just about getting on and doing it. And once you've got enough experience, once you've made enough phone calls, inspected enough properties, met enough people, it'll just come comfortably to you. You don't need to focus on it directly. It will just happen when you've done enough. I think some of it is getting your perspective right. So recalibrating, right? So fears and doubts, no, your dreams have to be bigger than your fears and doubts. And so that's that whole why and getting that bit right. But if you look at it going, oh, from a worst case scenario, you're going to drag yourself down. But if you look at it as a best case scenario, best possible outcome, am I giving the best possible service? Am I doing my why? Why do I do what I do? What have I got to offer? If you're looking at it all from that perspective, I'm going to give these people an opportunity to get what they want. I can help them. I'm the best person to help them. Do you need confidence for that? No, you just need practice. You need just to have done it so many times that you just go, oh, I got this. The method of sale shouldn't be a criteria on whether to appoint us or not. Appoint us and then let's decide on the method of sale. We might have a recommendation, we might have a preference, we might have more experience in one particular style or another. You know, my least preferred method of offering usually is price, although in this market, I quite happily go straight to price because you're cutting to the chase. But I think there's a less probability of success with a property with a price on it. And I'd prefer to put the effort in over a longer period of time and get a higher probability outcome than cutting to the chase to try and get a quick deal that may not eventuate. Be dressed at least as well as the people you're meeting. At least as well. It's not better, definitely don't be worse. Right, so you can't be, well, you can be less, so some agents, you know, the mullet and the, hey, I'm too cool for this, and you know, non-corporate guy, man. Yeah, fine, but that's not, I don't think that's best practice. So don't be worse dressed, but at least as well. And you want to give people a chance to relate to you and feel like you're like them, because that's easier to like, it's easier to trust. Make it easy for them to deal with you and not have to overlook some sort of extreme dress sense to deal with you. You're showing lack of experience. You're showing, you know, lack of preparedness. I often say to vendors, if the agent can't find the property or hasn't got a pen, don't appoint them. So, you know, if you can't find the property and be on time, you've got to ring the agent. is it the third one or the one? Oh, God, you know. But it's about demonstrating access to buyers. You showing you've got the access to the premium buyers, and then, as we discussed earlier, you either get or miss based on offering more for less or both. And if there's something you really, really want, offer them more, offer less, which give them better value. And if you're doing both, you're making that decision easy. So make it easy for them to make a decision to appoint you. I like consistently, you know, each week having transactions. You know, that's match fitness. So when you're transacting a lot, you're getting a lot of experience. And eventually, if you're doing the most deals, eventually you start doing the bigger deals. It's a natural consequence. But if you're not doing many deals and they're small deals and average fee, well, now you're starving to death. So the one thing you can influence is the frequency of transactions. You need to create capacity and willingness to be. If you can't do the biggest deals, you can definitely do the most deals. And it's a volume business. So do the most deals, make the most calls, and you will definitely get the opportunities to do bigger deals, because you'll have market knowledge and match practice. And when you pitch against your competitors who don't have the same market knowledge and match practice, they'll be found out regardless of how good they think they are. If you can demonstrate that you've got those two things, that's what they want, and that's how you'll get it. I often talk to people, you know, they send clients, they send their kids or their nieces and nephews in to talk about career development and where are you going and all that sort of stuff. And my first job, I was in primary school in grade 5, and I noticed in the playground there was this friend of mine that lived down the street handing out these envelopes to 5 or 6 other boys, and I'm like, well, what's going on? You know, $4.23, $5 and whatever it is. I'm like, what's happening here? Oh, they work in my family nursery, and you know, they're potting up plants, and that's their pay for the week. And I'm like, well, I want in on this. You know, why not me? So my first job, I was 10 years old, potting up plants in a nursery. My family had a business that I used to work in. So after school, I used to ride my bike into work, go home with my dad, and next day, same again. And then there was this sports store across the road, and I used to go into the sports store, and I just liked sport and played, and shoes and things. And I was 15, and the people at sports store said, "Look, you come in here so often, you better start working here." And so I started. So I was working in the family business, but I was working Thursday nights and Saturday mornings at this sports store. I got to the end of high school. Teachers are all going, "Oh, you love sport. You'd be a great phys ed teacher. You should be a phys ed teacher." So I put in on my QTAC form human movements at Queensland Uni. I get accepted, and I'm like, I'm going from school to uni to working at a school as a phys ed teacher. I'm not sure that's the future for me. So I went, no, I'd like to defer human movements. They said, we're Queensland Uni, you don't defer our courses. I said, well, stick your course. I then on my QTAC form put in communications, a QUT, which is where all the cute girls were. Should have stuck with the PR girls, but anyway, I tried to defer that. They wouldn't let me either. So I went, you know what, uni's not for me this year. It's what's now called a gap year. I took a year off, worked at the sports store full time, worked nights at it was called Sports World, which was like indoor cricket and all the gyms and all that sort of stuff, and got enough money, bought a car, came to Brisbane, and in September, because I had a girlfriend down here at the time, and checked out all the unis. So I went to accounting and law at Queensland Uni, went accounting, law and marketing at QUT, walked into the marketing faculty and went, oh, this is me. So next year for the round of offers, it was just QUT marketing, that's it, and Union College at Queensland Uni. So I got into the QUT, got into college, lived there for 3 years, used to ride a bike into town, used to work 20 hours a week at the sports store at the uni. So while I'm studying, I was working, finished all that, still had no idea what I wanted to do after finishing the degree, but was home. I read an article in the Australian newspaper from Fiona Cameron, who was a journalist at the time, about this guy, Peter Lewis, who was an artist that had set up Ray White in Noosa and had shifted that to a commercial agency in Brisbane, Rang Fiona Cameron when I got back to Brisbane. He sounded interesting. Rang her and said, you know, what's this guy like? How do I approach him? She said, ring him up and say g'day. So I rang him, met him, and was the managing director of what is now Savills, where I work. But at the time they said, you're too young, you know, no experience. So I got a job. There was a Century 21 at Sherwood that was offering me a job, and at the time I didn't even have a car, and I was a graduate from uni, and I almost took that job and didn't, and then there was this ad for this group called King & Co, which are a commercial agency, industrial one. So they were Ray White, South Brisbane, and one weekend they went, we're sick of selling houses, let's just sell sheds from now on, industrial properties. So over the weekend they just tore all their Ray White, South Brisbane signs down. On Monday they put up King & Co signs, but only on industrial properties. And I ended up getting a job there, worked with them for 5 years in commercial leasing and then sales while they were all doing industrial. So there were 54 staff when I left them, and all their commercial was being funneled into me. So I was really the only commercial guy getting, so there was great opportunity, even though I wasn't doing what predominantly, I was the niche specialist in a broader industrial agency, but it was a good grounding. But in the end, the managing director that gave me that job left, and my loyalty left with him and back to the artist that was still at the firm I'm with now. I rang him and said, look, I'm thinking about a career change. Can I come in and have a chat? I went in, we talked. I started work with them in commercial sales and been there 25 years selling commercial property and enjoying it and loving it. So, and it should show, you know, I shouldn't have to tell anyone I love what I do, you know, and neither should you. It should show in your energy and enthusiasm, and you should pick and choose. You know, you want to spend time with people you enjoy being with. So the King & Co one, you're too young, you got no experience. I just kept ringing them a few times, and I kept a lot of the letters. So I reckon I got 30 rejection letters. I reckon I did, you know, lots of interviews. And eventually I got a start. Took me 3 weeks to do my first deal. Rarely took me 3 weeks to do my next one, and I just kept, you know, volume of deals. My fees for my first, so it was my 32nd deal before my fee was more than $5,000. So 31 deals of, you know, $1,000 here, $2,000 there, and then 32nd deal was a bigger deal. But your career is defined by your transactions. So it's the deals you do build your reputation and the relationships you've got, and the more you can add value to them, the more you can enjoy their company and enjoy what you do, the better. And you know, that's why lunch is an important part of our business, because you want to, you know, at its best, you're just lunching frequently with people that you like and like you, and that leads to more business. Well, what a great model that is. So the beauty, and we talked earlier, unlimited earning potential, no capital investment, and great lifestyle. I think we're very lucky people, and I think we're in a booming market. And at the moment, there's a migration from south to north, so Melbourne and Sydney up to here. I think that's only going to grow, particularly you guys in Caloundra. You know, Brisbane people, when they go to retire, head north, and I think that hasn't really ran its course yet. COVID's had a big impact on a couple of markets. They're the national brands. You know, so when you're in Melbourne and you go on holidays and you can't go to Whistler or overseas, where do you go? You go to Noosa, so it's really benefited. Byron's the other one that's benefited. But I think once the international borders open up, and they will, sooner the better, then we're a safe haven. New Zealand's a safe haven. People overseas are going to say, I'm taking me and my family and my money, and I'm going to those locations so I don't have to live through this again. And when that happens, it'll keep booming for another couple of years. So I think we're in for an enormous, once in a lifetime generation property boom. And it started, and I think it'll continue. Interest rates so low, stimulus so plentiful, I think we're going to have a really good run.